What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are coming to you live from all over the place tonight. So I think we got where are you at, Michael? I forget where you're at.
I'm back in Apex right now for a little bit.
Okay, because I'm in High Point, and Greg the leg is, or the broken leg. Greg the broken leg is coming from Weird Greg.
I'm hanging out in Norfolk, Virginia right now.
Okay. And you're probably all wondering, you look at us three handsome guys, you're like, where the heck's Leighton at? Well, he's not here tonight. And that's okay, because you got us. And we're going to talk NC State athletics.
Got the B squad.
You said what?
Yeah, got the B squad.
That's right. Yeah, we're just subpar compared to Leighton. I don't have the intro as polished as Leighton may have, but I bring the content. It's what matters. So
there you go.
But yeah, guys, I mean, we had a pretty, I would say, a up and down week emotionally for State fans. As far as basketball goes, we'll start there. Men's team, I don't know really what happened there. I mean, I kind of do, but not really. And then women's team, I mean, they did great. They kept rolling, and they're on fire right now. But I want to start with the men's team because I think that's pretty fresh on everybody's minds. I was beside myself that first half, and especially the first 10 minutes watching that game. Really surprised at how seemingly unprepared we were. And I'll let you guys kind of highlight what your thoughts were more specifically. But man, I was so disappointed. Michael, what do you think? Or Greg, what do you think?
Go ahead, Mike. I'll go. Well, there's a term for it that came back from I think it was World War I, and when you get shell shocked, and that's what comes to mind. It just we looked slower. We didn't defend. We didn't rebound. I was all in favor of our offensive execution. That's for sure. It was not good. I don't know. I'm pretty lost at words. I don't even know how you describe it other than unprepared.
Yeah. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, it was tough to watch. I mean, Carolina shot the lights out, but some of that is also due to just poor defense on our end. And they were obviously ready for that game, and like you said, we weren't. It's tough when we switch everything 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5 on defense on picks and stuff, and without having Manny Bates down there, it leaves too many open threes, and UNC hit a lot of them.
Yeah.
Saturday. I
mean, Keats had mentioned, he said they did plan to double Baycott in the post. And I know they were concerned about that, he said when you do that, the worry is you're gonna give up some open looks on the perimeter. I think he was betting on Carolina not shooting as great around the perimeter, which I mean, I don't think RJ Davis or Puff Johnson we made those two guys particularly look like studs, and they have not been this whole season. I don't believe. I know that Caleb Love's probably their best guard. Leaky Black had a pretty good game. So if you go,
they shot over 60% in the first half from 3, and ended up like mid 50s at the end of the game. So
yeah, I mean, I tweeted something out from thoughts coming out after the game because I was, to be honest with you, I for a portion of the second half just turned it off because that was
likewise
ugly. And I kept up here and there, checked in, and I still want to see what happens, but I didn't watch as intently. I was so disappointed. But I mean, the first 10 minutes, I tweeted this out. I said, Carolina literally, I think, not literally, I know, I was keeping track. They were shooting 80% from the field.
Yep.
I mean, it was literally, it said 8-0 field goal percentage, and it came down to 62%, I think, by halftime.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. But 80% is unreal. And I was texting my brother. I was like, they cannot keep scoring like this. But we kept giving open looks, and they were taking advantage of it.
Yeah, it was bad.
15 of 27 for 55.6% for the game.
Yeah, from three. Yeah, I mean, them shooting. I think when you look at the second half, we went toe to toe with them. We scored 49 points in the second half. I mean, we scored almost 50 points in the second half. So they scored 44, but it was just that start, man. It was terrible. I know. So guys in the comment section are really into Greg the Leg right now.
I have a fan club out there.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a following.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was. If you look at the stats from the game, guys, I don't think they are as telling as how bad it was.
No, because they weren't. I mean, UNC was barely trying the last 10 minutes of the second half. So
right.
Yeah, the whole second half was garbage time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I haven't really gone back to look. Fast break points is pretty telling. Carolina had 25 to our 11. 9 blocks to our 3. 9 blocks. I think Baycott had 6.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, but we did have less turnovers, so there's a positive.
Yeah. But
what was that turnover number?
Yeah, it was 12 to 10. So
12 to 10, yeah. But
which isn't bad. I mean, 10 turnovers for a game is not bad.
No, but I think Keats, the way he likes to play, he'd like to get a little more, get up in the 15 to 20 range. And that leads to offense. And just we haven't really been. Some of his early teams, his first couple of years, we forced a lot of turnovers, and just this year, it doesn't seem like we've been that successful. Forcing the turnovers, getting out on the break.
Yeah,
occasionally here and there, but not consistently.
Yeah, off leads to defense for us. We make a basket, we can set up a full court press, whatever he wants to run.
We don't play well when we're not scoring. I mean, we don't defend when we're not scoring.
Right. Yeah.
And because he wants to press. If we don't get to hit the bucket, then we are not able to set the full court press. And I mean, one thing I mentioned too in a tweet on offensively, 80 points should have gotten it done.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of times, most nights that will get it done. It was just, I mean, Carolina scored 56 points in the first half. They scored 58 points the whole game against Boston College the game before.
Yeah.
That's what's so part of it what's so bothersome to me. The team just was not. They were not communicating. It seemed very well. At least it seemed. And again, you can kind of see the fruit of the unpreparedness, but they weren't switching, rotating very well. And I understand there was a strategy to double Baycott, but it seemed like every possession they had a guy open, and you combine that with a particularly hot night for them shooting. It was a disaster, I thought.
And this was not a dominant UNC team. They've gotten plenty of criticism the whole season. They lost by combined 50 points to Miami and Wake Forest. So, I mean, yeah.
Maybe Jordan was in that.
Yeah, some magic.
Well, I can tell you what was played an effect with Jordan and Roy Williams being in the house. Those guys, I know we like slashing to the paint a lot of times, particularly with Sebron.
He was absent.
Yeah,
man,
he was absent, man. I don't know what that. And here's the thing with him: he's had such a great season. He was probably due for a cold night. I hate that it was against Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
As State fans, I don't think we really need to be beating up on Sebron, but I will say you do count on players like that in those kind of big games, and he didn't show up tonight, or not tonight, a few nights ago. So, you're more upset about that than you would be a guy like E.B. Duana, or who's kind of you're not expecting a dominant performance from. You are expecting Sebron, and when you don't have that, it's hard. And he's your leader, so.
And Keats sat him down in the second half. He really didn't play.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, he did.
He said about half the second half.
Yeah, and I mentioned Roy Williams and Michael Jordan being. My point with the whole slashing comment was, Carolina. I don't know how many fouls did they get accounted for on that during that game, because I don't think it was a lot.
I got it right here. Each team had 17, so even there.
Each team has 17. Okay.
Yep.
How much did Baycott have?
Give me a second. I got that here.
Let's pull it now. I got it here.
You got it. Go ahead.
Baycott, 1. He had 1 foul. You mean to tell me the whole night he really only fouled 1 time? Like,
yeah, probably not. But there were just so many times where we'd drive to the basket, and I mean, he'd be there, and we'd just try and put up a bad shot and try to draw the foul instead of maybe kicking it out or something. And
yeah, I don't think we
also why
adjusted
they
well
had
early.
9 blocks.
Totally agree. When you're driving and you're seeing them like double you early driving into the paint to stop that, you have to be mindful. Like there's somebody else open, and I get you're focused on that, but you as a player, Division I Power 5 player, you have to be mindful of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and sure, probably some of them were fouls.
Yeah,
but like after the first 2 or 3, and it's not there, and they're not calling a foul, you gotta switch something up. But
yeah. But you
guys
let us know in the comments what your thoughts were about the game. I mean, I see James Bowling saying no excuse.
Yeah,
You're not hearing us disagree with you, man. As State fans, I just get tired of seeing that happen so much. And I know that that's happened for decades now with State and Carolina rivalry.
But that's you just said something that I was actually I was just thinking. That's the reason why Carolina doesn't think it's a rivalry.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you think about this too, like you go back and look, which I did right after the game or during the game, I think we have let Carolina score 3 games, I think, and under Keats' era that have been over 100 points they scored against us. And I don't know if that's happened much ever in the series. I get teams are scoring more nowadays than they did back 50 years ago or so, even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but it was bad, man.
Not to that extent, yeah.
Bad. That just when you're having historic, negatively historic outings against Carolina, that's a tell to me.
We were lucky just to lose by 20. Like, we were down by 38 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell you one thing I thought too. I think on a positive note, I'm kind of switch gears a little bit. Because not a lot of positives from this game. Terquavian Smith was great offensively, and I mean, the future with him, like him, if you can build around him, is awesome. His quote at the end of the game where he was, I'm mad. Yeah, I'm angry, but I play for NC State. I give everything I have for NC State. That is going to endear a lot of fans. And if you don't already love him, I think he was the second highest freshman scoring game.
Yeah.
Do you remember that stat, Greg?
Yeah, Ernie Meyer still holds it. I think he had one more point than Baby T.
So what did he have? Was it 30? What did he have?
37, right? Because he had 30.
Yeah, right. So he had the second highest individual scoring game for a true freshman behind Ernie Myers, who's 37 points.
Yep.
So he's basically historically one of the greatest freshman scorers you've ever seen. So
we just get a little more consistency. I mean, he's definitely stepped up, but let's hopefully like he can maintain, 20 to 25 somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. What were you gonna say, Michael?
We got to figure something out at point guard because, I mean, Cam he didn't have a good game either. Sebron didn't have a good game, and he's been playing the point.
Well, you just totally seen Hayes' minutes just dwindle, man. He's a bench player now.
Yeah.
I don't really know why, but
I think you got to get Breon Pass in there more, at least just to get him some experience going into next year. I don't know. I don't see if Cam Hayes didn't take a big step, or not even a big step, just a kind of a step at all forward from last year to this year. It doesn't give me confidence much for him suddenly becoming better next year over this year.
Yeah, Cam finished with 0 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 turnovers.
Yep, 2 turnovers.
And it sucks because he's got the size. He's a good big point guard. Highly recruited, and just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's not conditioned well enough. Maybe he's just got something going on off the court. I don't know. Yeah, Russell asked about your thoughts on what appears to be ISO ball.
Well, I think
What
that
do you guys
goes back to Cam Hayes struggling because we don't have a pure point guard to distribute the ball, so it turns into a lot of ISO.
It's kind of been most effectively. It's been Sebron.
Yeah,
Which is not the way it should be.
And maybe one other guy, right? But there's the thing, we've said it over and over, like it's not the same person every night. Like like you're okay if you ride the one horse with Sebron, but you need help. So and you need consistent help, and that's the problem. There's been no consistency for that secondary scoring.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about it. It's just, to me, when you see the offense come down the court, it's pick and roll, and then in the last like 5-7 seconds, it's okay. Somebody just bail us out here and just get a point. I mean, even Scott Wood tweeted that out. He had a tweet.
Yeah.
I'll go look it up. But he said we can't just run ISO ball. I think it's exactly what his words were. The whole time we go down the court. So when you're even one of the greatest shooters your state's ever had, I mean, he's alumni. He's not been that far removed from the game. He makes that kind of comment. That's, pretty bad.
The other thing, I mean, Jericho. No one's talking. I mean, Jericho had.
He had a great game. You're right. Jericho had a great game.
Yeah. But just not enough. I don't know. I'm looking at the stats here. I mean, 80, but let's see how we got 80.
Yeah, I mean, if you look between Smith and Helms, that's 60 of your 80 points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, Morcell had a couple of nice moments. He had 7 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. He did have 1 turnover, but I mean, 7 points, 5 rebounds, and assist. That's pretty solid for a bench player.
Hayes had 7.
Thomas Allen.
Allen, I'm sorry. I said I meant to say Allen. Allen had 7. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Allen did too. He had 7 points, 1 rebound, 2 steals, 1 block. Again, 1 turnover, but those are nice contributing factors. And even like I thought Duwana had a pretty nice game, or not nice game. He was not totally useless. He had some effective moments, but Sebron going 2 points. He had 3 rebounds and 2 assists. No steals, no blocks. Hayes had 0 points. Again, Gibson had 0 points. Breon had 2 points. That's just, again, more so from Turquavian. I mean, not Turquavian, from Sebron. That's probably what hurt us the most.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if Sebron, you're right in there.
Yeah. And you'll be able to set up your press defense more, but I don't know the kind of bigger picture what you guys think. It's hard not to be like really down on Keats and people. I totally get it. I'm kind of right there with you guys. Like, I think it's time, and I don't think we need to wait to go look for another option potentially. But I don't want to sway anybody's opinion. I want you guys to have your own opinions about that, and let us know if you guys are still thinking Keats should still be here a little bit longer, or give another year from the NCAA cloud leaving. Not having Manny. We were playing a lot of close games. This is like the first game this season where we really got blown out. Yeah. You think about it on a positive note, like every other game we've been really close. So
Wright State was bad, but yeah,
but it was that a blowout? I can't remember.
It was like we were behind like 10 to 12 points the whole game, so it wasn't a blowout, but we weren't even.
It was a solid loss.
Yeah.
But here's the question: can he turn it around in a year? Like, is 1 year realistic if you're gonna ride Keats? Like, I don't know.
It depends. I think it depends on if Sebron and Manny Bates come back.
Right.
I mean,
and if
I can tell you right now, Sebron is not coming back.
No.
He was a mid to late first round pick. He's played himself into that spot. He's not coming back.
I don't know. I mean, I think the game yesterday doesn't hurt him a little bit. I mean, he was going against.
Yeah, I say that kind of.
I know it's one game,
bad game, but yeah, I get you. It was a big game.
He was going against the type of talent that will be in the NBA. You know, those 5-star guys like Big Hot and Leaky Black, and yeah.
I don't think Leaky Black's a pro. I think Baycott will be on a bench somewhere. I do think that. Is Caleb Love like a G League kind of guy? Yeah, I think he's probably that. I don't think he's a NBA starter or a bench player. He might be, but I'm just again, I kind of thinking that it's about time for Keats. It just seems very like too often we are looking at it where it's he just doesn't see the team does not seem prepared. Now I will say this about Keats, and again I tweeted this out. The team does look really they do play motivated. They play hard for Keats. They could have made it, like you said, Greg, like a 40-point loss. They didn't.
Yeah.
They tried to keep playing, and I realized Carolina eased up. I get that. But the guys know they're struggling, and they're still playing hard. They're not like totally checked out. I mean, Terquavian and Helms put up 25 plus, both of them, and like you guys are playing hard. It's just I just don't think they're prepared.
I agree. I think it's just comes down to a matter of, defense, especially in preparation.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, we not to beat the dead horse, but I just think we just keep saying the same thing over and over, right? Like, I think at this point you play the season out. You go support the team. They deserve that much from us as fans, because everything we do as fans affects future recruiting classes. Yeah. So these parents, they all look at social media. So if state's your team, you ride or die. I mean, that's just the way it is. You ride or die.
You don't necessarily just totally jump onto the NC State bandwagon. Some people do, but if there is a bandwagon, I will say this. I don't know if this is my opinion, or this is my opinion, but I don't think it's what I necessarily want to happen. I do think Keats is going to get another year. Personally, I might be wrong, but I do think he is, because he did not have Manny Bates, and some of our defensive issues are not because of Manny, but we would have been we would have won like 3 or 4, maybe 5 more games, I think, with Manny. Yeah. And maybe be in like the kind of bubble, maybe kind of talk. I don't really know.
That's not what we want to be, though. We want to be solidly in the tournament.
Yeah, you want to be like, you don't want to have a question about it, and I get that. Totally get that. I just think he has some of that discussion he can have with Boo Corrigan, and you just say, "Hey, I didn't have Manny. I didn't have you don't really know what I wouldn't say want to count Greg Gant, because he didn't. You kind of thought he might play this season. You did kind of strategize for him to be part of it, and that didn't work out. But I think, again, the NCAA cloud, it sounds like it's a lot bigger deal we've talked to Debbie Al. She just, self-initiated the comment where she's like, he had this NCAA mess has been a really hard issue for Keats and the team and the program. She said, I think he needs a clean slate. I don't see that being. I don't think we as fans see how big of a deal that is to the program, but I think it is a lot more. So I think he will get another year. Again, I don't necessarily advocating that should happen, but
I think he will. And with the NCAA investigation, we're down a scholarship too right now, self-imposed, and then we get one for next year too. We lose one for next year too.
Yep.
I think he'll get another year. All the things we discussed. But I think it's pretty much like an ultimatum. Like, you have to be solidly in the tournament next year, not a bubble team. Like, you have to, put something together with a fully healthy roster, no NCAA investigation. But I think that's all he'll get. I think he'll get 1 year if we're on the bubble. If we don't make it, I think.
Yeah, I don't think 1 year is enough at the state of our part. No pun intended. That the state of our program is in. I don't think you can do it in 1 year.
I agree. I'm with you.
I just don't. So it's I mean, at some point, like I said, do you ride with them? Do you cut bait? That's who has to decide. You know, because if you go next year and he doesn't make it because you think, well, maybe it doesn't take two, but at that point you've lost the fan base potentially.
Yeah.
And so and so now, you know, one fan base, then the recruits, like it's a domino effect. So
Yep.
and it's a fine line, but that's why Boo gets paid to make decisions.
Yeah.
You know,
that was a very well said. I thought. I mean, losing the fan base is a big deal. I mean, like whether we think about it or not, ticket sales matter to the athletic department.
Yeah.
So
it's revenue,
especially
coming out of COVID.
Right. Yeah. I think it'd be very interesting. Recruits will come and go, and I really would not want us to lose a guy like Dillingham. I really would not want us to, you know, we've obviously, you know, LJ Thomas is coming in, Sean Phillips is coming in as a combo guard and as a center. That's really exciting to see. But we'll see what Boo Corrigan does with Keats. You know, I'm interested. I know we've got another game coming up. I'm trying to look to see what the next game is.
We got Syracuse Wednesday.
Syracuse Wednesday night at 9:00 for those who are watching,
baby,
at home against a sub 500 Syracuse team. They were supposed to be a lot better or better than what their record is. So yeah, you guys definitely try to tune in. I hate these 9:00 games on weeknights, but it's part of it. Now I gotta address a question here. A couple things. One, I saw that Tuffy talk. I think we had an appearance by Leighton.
I think we had a signing of Leighton.
Yeah, popped up where he said this episode is sponsored by Pepsi tonight. That is the drink of choice for me.
Yeah, a new generation.
Yep. And Russell asked them what's making eating with that Pepsi. Well, for those who are wondering,
Chipotle.
My wife baked some cookies.
No.
What kind?
Not Chipotle.
See, some people are. This is the kind of cookie that you either love or you hate. This is an oatmeal raisin.
I saw it. Yeah,
I'm a fan. I'm
a fan.
Some guys hate them. You hate it? You hate it, Greg?
Yeah. Hashtag not a fan.
See, but that's what
I'm not gonna lie. If that's the only thing available, I will eat an oatmeal raisin cookie.
You won't discriminate too much.
That's right.
But that's cool. Well, let's go. Let's move on to the women's basketball teams. We need to talk about some more positive stuff, man. They are killing it,
man. And that was a great game. I mean, whatever. I think somebody said it in here, but whatever Westmore's halftime speech was, that was
we're down.
That was what they needed.
Like 27-33.
Yeah, it was a 6-point deficit at halftime and came out the second half on a 16-2 run, and then pretty much never let Carolina get closer than, 6 or 7 points after that.
Yeah, they made a real good conscious effort to get Canadian involved in the second half. They got running too. I think that was the thing. They got out in space and started making some. Someone posted a really good video clip of a possession where they made 5 passes and Rena ends up making a 3-pointer. That's beautiful. That was like
without the ball. It was without the ball touching the ground either.
Yeah, no exactly. Dribbles. That was Gene Hackman and Hoosiers. You will make 5 passes before we shoot the ball. So.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Yeah, I was I was very impressed with the team. I think one play in particular I saw everybody was talking about on Twitter was Kai Crutchfield. I think she was 4 of 7, I believe, from 3, and played a really good game. Did you guys see that at all? What do you guys think of her?
She hit 2 big ones in the fourth quarter when Carolina was making a little run. They got it down to about 5 or 6. Clutchfield hit 2 and Press hit 1. So every time they got within, an earshot of 2 possessions, we answered with a 3. So that was big.
Yeah.
I think we've got 4 players that are shooting like 40% or better from 3, which is insane.
Yeah. Wow. From 3.
Not to mention the last 4 games we've had a different leading scorer. Which is I mean that team is so deep. That's just a testament to what Wes is doing.
Diamond Johnson is still coming off the bench. She's so good.
She was.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here. State shot 44% from the field to Carolina's 32.3. State shot 39% as a team from 3-point. Carolina shot 21. That's not really getting it done for them. That's going to be a hard night. And they took 14 attempts to ours.
They
They
started out
took
hot.
23 attempts. They were 5 of 23 from 3.
Here's another really good stat about Crutchfield. She shut down the number 3 scorer in the ACC, Daja Kelly, to 0 points.
Yeah.
0
wow.
points, the number 3
was huge.
scorer. So
And then
so she was doing on
16.
both ends.
So
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing that people overlook with Crutchfield. She doesn't always score a lot, but she's always on the other team's best offensive player.
Mhm.
So she's doing it at both ends of the court. So sometimes her offensive numbers may not be there, but again, she's taking the number 1 assignment as your shutdown defender. So for her to have it on both ends of the court last night was really good.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I look at here, Carolina. One thing that we might could get better at. I think I noticed it. We noticed it during the which game was it? That was one of the bigger games we had recently. But
Louisville.
We turned the ball over a lot with Louisville, and we had 8 steals that Carolina got against us this game. We did kind of match it back up with 4 blocks of our own, but
yeah, that was kind of due.
Turn the ball over seems to be a problem a little bit for this team.
Yeah, that was kind of due to we had some very lazy passes in the first half. We were trying to get Cunane, and they did a lot of lob passes. And the way Carolina defends, they like to collapse on their bigs. So that was one of the talking points that Wes had made at his press conferences. Like once they started getting those crisp passes, that was a big difference in the second half.
And they started like full court pressing in the fourth quarter, and there were a couple bad passes there.
Yeah,
there was a couple turnovers.
Yeah, Carolina was in desperation mode at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking here. You had kind of looking here at your starters for state. 4 of your 5 starters were in double digits points wise. I think Kayla Jones had a bad game. She was 0 for 5. She had made 1 free throw, but it didn't matter because we were shooting the ball so well. So I think again, Kai was the main reason we got through that game. I mean, I'll tell you, and that's another person I'm personally just oftentimes very impressed with, and I think she is the glue of the team is Reina Perez.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just holds this team together. Her seniority, her experience. She just is a calming presence, I think, for the team.
Yeah, she's
I really like her. Yeah, I really like what she does. But yeah, I mean, team was really good. I think what are they now? They're 10-0 in conference. 19-2, ranked 3rd. You guys know what their next matchup is going to be?
No,
yeah, they have Notre Dame this week, so that tomorrow night up in
another big game.
Number 20. Yeah, we got a big week actually. We got 3 this week. We got FSU. We got tomorrow night Notre Dame, FSU, and then next Monday is the Play for K game against Georgia Tech. A really big game.
Georgia Tech, yeah, man. Georgia Tech. Is that coach? Besides, if it wasn't for the season that, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of our coach, Westmore,
yeah,
Westmore, yeah. If he wasn't having the season he was having, it might be Georgia Tech's or Duke's coach
for coach of the year.
For ACC coach of the year. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Louisville coach obviously did really good too. So what do I know? But
in other ACC, Louisville had 9,000 of their game yesterday against Duke up at the Yum Center. So that was it's nice to see that go. I want to make one more comment about the women's game yesterday. I love seeing all the red in the stands at Carmichael.
Yeah.
Carolina had their biggest turnout of the season, and they only had a little over 4,100. So their coach, small gym, right?
Hashtag small gym.
There was only 61% full. I was looking on the ESPN, and then the one thing I wanted to say, their coach Banghart, she likes to ride this bit, man. She won't let it go about the attendance and the crowds. This was what she said on her presser. I made a note of it. She said, "I'd be remiss not to show a sense of gratitude to the growth of our program to have that many fans in the gym on a Sunday evening. It was a great environment for college basketball. Lady, we were half of your attendance."
Yeah, it was half NC State fans.
Yeah. And then she tweeted out a picture today, like how full the arena was, but it was all darkened out.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Like, she won't let it go, man.
She seems like an interesting character to me.
Yeah. I give her credit. Go ahead. Yeah.
and she's not even very like what's the word? She's not very active. It seems when she's coaching either. She's a lot of times she's just kind of just sitting there watching, taking it in.
Yeah.
So
on the sidelines, yeah.
She's very animated though, which is kind of funny.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this team, man. I mean, if you look at the schedule for them, I mean, they have some tough games left. They stay at Notre Dame, Georgia Tech at home, at Duke.
At Duke, that'll be tough. At Virginia Tech, last game of the season.
Yeah.
What do you guys? I mean, I could see them getting, a couple losses maybe along the way, but
the nice thing is
running through this.
The nice thing is we only have Louisville once this year, so that's all. Yeah. That's usually a split. Carolina is usually a split, so we did take care of that. I know. I was reading something. A couple of the players hadn't beat Carolina both games in their career, so that was kind of a first for a lot of the current roster. I could see them losing one, probably a road game. So my guess would be either Duke or Virginia Tech. And I say Virginia Tech because Cunane, I think it's the Kelly or Kelty or whatever their big is. Her and Cunane go way back, and they usually cancel each other out.
Oh yeah,
they
about that.
Yeah, and they usually play each other very tough. And in that game, I think we beat them by 6 on our court a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we always play them really, really tight. In fact, they beat us last year to break our unbeaten streak to start the season. So I could see that game possibly being a loss since it's on the road.
Yeah. Well, that game will be on. That game is going to be on tomorrow night, guys, at 7:00 on the ACC network. Should be a game you could easily watch. Again, big matchup. Notre Dame's got so much history for the women's basketball program, and I can't just get over how great of a job Westmore has done for state. Is he the best hire we've had besides him and Papalizio or Braden Holloway? I mean, those three guys
probably those top three.
I mean, if you had to pick a tier, do you guys have an idea which three how would you rank those?
So I guess we're talking in the Debbie Yao era.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I know we've had.
And then I would say kind of rolling into the Boo Corrigan era now, starting Debbie Yao. I would say because Les Robinson was not a great.
No,
not Les Robinson. Lee Fowler. Excuse me.
Lee Fowler.
Lee Fowler was not a great AD. So.
Yeah, I would have this. So I guess it depends. I don't know how long our cross country coach has been there. So there's some programs that I don't follow as much, but we've got. Cross country just won a national championship. So you kind of put stock in that. If you're evaluating coaches. But Westmore's won a couple of ACC championships. So he has to be right up there. If he's not number one, he's number two in my book.
Heck, wrestling
pop
too. Yeah.
Wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah, getting ready to say
swimming
that.
Is what do they have? Do they 4 in a row, 5 in a row?
Yeah. We had a couple national. We had a relay team that won the national championship. I think last year too, right? The 4x100 women's team or men's team or something. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah. So if you got national championships, I think you're doing something right.
Yeah.
I think it carries a lot more weight than maybe a conference championship would.
Yeah,
sure. I actually think it's an interesting question. When we talk this with Debbie Yao, and I'll talk in previous episodes, but I think it would be interesting to really break down each.
We should do that sometime.
Yeah. I think people would like to hear that.
Yeah.
So
one other thing that I saw on the women's team was that their third quarter point differential is now plus 136 or something.
Coming out of halftime, they're
coming out of halftime. They're whatever Westmore does, either adjustments or maybe it's a rah-rah speech or something, but whatever it is, it's very effective.
I do like watching him on the sidelines. He gets into it. He's like,
his face gets so red when he coaches too.
Yeah.
Diamond Johnson made a pass yesterday, and he just I can see him saying, almost like the Roy Williams, "Dadgummit," because he's from, I think he's from Texas or Tennessee or one of those real southern states, and he gets real into it. And hearing him talk he's just a good old boy, and I think that's what people endear about him so much. He definitely fits the North Carolina culture, even if he's not from here originally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. But I don't know. I mean, we could talk about football. We could talk about. I mean, it's not a lot to talk about football right now, but
I was
what do you guys
gonna bring that up. The schedule got released. Well, it got leaked
yeah.
earlier today, but now it's officially out.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can pull up on my phones. I'm not gonna.
Hey, while you're doing that, let me drop a couple of nuggets here. Shout out to the wrestling team, 43-0 over Friday night.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did see that.
First shutout, right?
Yeah, since 1996.
Whoa,
So, pretty good.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is that NC State or ACC?
What do you mean? It was first. No, it was first state. Yeah, I don't know. That was state's first shutout since '96. I don't know if it was how long ago. I would imagine.
I'm sure it's happened.
Someone's probably shut. Yeah, someone's probably shut someone out. And then the other one, women's tennis sweeping Penn State and Wake Forest to advance to the women's indoor championships. So that was pretty good. They both won.
And by the way, did you see the Ice Pack had Rob Brindamore did the pump up? That's kind of a little thing. I thought it was pretty cool.
Good speech.
Against what, Wilmington?
They
played Wilmington.
Fan.
You're not even a Canes. Are you a
No.
You're not a Capitals fan, are you?
Oh no. I hate the Capitals.
Capitals. Is that really the nickname?
I mean, that's what I call them. So I don't know.
Who is your NHL team? Is it Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, I'm from Tampa.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, back-to-back.
Had a pretty good season. Lately.
Yeah. Back-to-back for a three-peat. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah. So you got a comment here. Russell asks, "Is Leighton on the recruiting trail?" Yeah, he might be. You never know what kind of talent Leighton brings in. He's just that kind of wild, crazy kind of guy.
He's crafty.
You never know. He might come knock on your door saying, "Hey, come join Tuffy Talk." You never know. But
and if he does run,
if he does, say no because you'll never get away. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's awesome.
But no, Leighton's. I can't remember what he was doing. Something with this.
He had family.
Traveling. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. His brother-in-law. He was in Ohio. That's right.
Yeah. Shout out to the Air Force.
Yep, his brother-in-law became a major in the Air Force, and so he went to go celebrate and watch his promotion. So
he's a major officer now.
That's awesome. That's major news right there.
That's major news.
All right, so we're going to take the last 15 minutes or so to talk about this schedule. But here it is for those who can't see. Maybe you can kind of see it. This is terrible idea. Terrible idea. Yeah, bad idea. I'm just gonna read it.
The graphic wasn't great either. No,
it wasn't. That was such a bad idea. All right, I'm just gonna read it to you guys. So we've got ECU's our opening game on September 3rd. Maybe it's a noon game, but I think the way success the State's had, I don't think it's going to be. I think you'll see State get some, pretty good primetime slots.
We had no noon games last year.
Which is insane. I think they probably heard Dave Doran complain. Was like, they heard Dave Doran basically saying we need to have get all these noon games. And they're like, okay, year.
I have some inside information on that.
Really?
So yeah, we had one of the Wolfpack Club members at a last year, and he actually said that Boo went fighting for us to get better time slots. So
really,
as much as people want, that came straight from someone very high up in the Wolfpack Club. So it was a solid blue mark on Twitter.
Nice.
So hopefully
if you break your leg at a football game, you get to know people.
In their circles. No, I don't mind noon games. Maybe it's because I'm still somewhat young, but
no one ever. That's going to be on the next state fans never say.
That's an early tailgate.
I don't.
All about
7 o'clock. Someone
I don't mind it.
I
don't mind it.
That 3:30, 4 o'clock. We've done plenty of those. You can only eat so many breakfast burritos.
I like the evening games, but I really like the. I do like the 3:30, 4 o'clock games.
Yeah,
3:30 is good.
If there's a really good primetime game on in the evenings, you can kind of get back and watch that and chill out. Maybe go grab some dinner out somewhere.
Yeah,
if it's not too hot.
Well, for me, it's so much work with our tailgate. So I mean, we're out there in the parking lot an hour after the game, cleaning it up and packing it away, and I got to go store it. And so for me, I love the night game under the lights. That's awesome, but it's just a late night. So
then you're getting late.
Well, let's get to the schedule here.
So we got schedule.
We got at ECU, which personally I think is going to be the litmus test for the season. Litmus is like a really hard word to say. At ECU, September 3rd. Charleston Southern is our first home game. Next game is a home game against Texas Tech, which I'm going to be at that game just because we don't ever play Texas Tech. I usually get mini packs for those who don't know. But the Red Raiders, that's like a different matchup. And again, I think it's fun. Like we've advocated for so many years, seeing some more name brand teams come in, and this is exciting. It's not like they're not like a Oklahoma or somebody like that, but Texas Tech is a respectable program. Put out Pat Mahomes, and technically they had Baker Mayfield at one point, and
Cliff Kingsbury.
I'll say, I'm happy they didn't get Quinn Ewers because he was in the transfer portal looking at Texas Tech, and I was not looking forward to playing him.
This was who?
Yep.
Quinn Ewers. He was the number
quarterback from Texas.
one recruit.
Yeah. So we got those games. So again, at ECU, Charleston Southern, Texas Tech at home. You got another home game. So 3 out of their first 4 games are home games. Generally how it works, but it's going to be UConn. So I would say that's your out of conference slate this year. At ECU, Charleston Southern at home, Texas Tech at home, UConn at home. What are your thoughts, guys? You just face value like that? Or just matchups?
Yeah, I mean, I do think at ECU will be tough. They were not bad this year. I think they finished 7-5. I guess it's last year now. They weren't bad last year. They finished 7-5. And they played Cincinnati all right. Because they're in their conference. They lost, but it was a close game. I think, like you said, I think that will be a good test to start the season. I do think we'll go 4-0 though.
What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good solid matchup for your first game. You're not going to play cream puff that you're going to play your first and seconds, and then you put your thirds in like the fourth quarter. So I like that, and then I like coming back against a weaker opponent, so you can make those adjustments before you go play up. Yeah, exactly right. So I do like the way it lays out. That we have the potential to go 4-0 in that run, especially with the hardest game being ECU, and that's the road game. Oh, not the hardest game, but your road game is ECU.
It'll be the toughest environment.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
So
I'm see the Mark Sigmund Insurance Agency says it's gonna be 4-0. I'm guessing this is Mark talking. So
it's an old Navy buddy of mine. So I brought a couple people to the chat tonight.
Oh, gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah. So we got a 4-0. I'm thinking I think it could be very much 4-0. When you mentioned the Charleston Southern game leading into Texas Tech, I think the UConn game leads into our first ACC matchup again. Exactly. But this time it's at Clemson. So at Clemson on October 1st. They were our first. We got them early last season.
It's very similar last
year. Worked out well for us. We're going to be at Clemson with basically the same team again, reloaded. Get Payne Wilson back. You get Durden back. You get all these CJ Clark back.
Yeah. Like I tweeted something out this year. This afternoon. Like we returned like 80-something% of our defense back, and that's a defense that finished 21 in total defense. I'll get it out, and that at the end we only had 4 starters from that first game. So I mean, you would think like we're only going to get better, and those players that filled in for our guys, they're only going to be better. So like our 2 deeps. Are scary, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that'll be a really tough matchup. But I think it's interesting that we get them early again. We play UConn right before them. UConn should be a very easy matchup. We should be 4-0 in my opinion going into that game.
I think Texas Tech. I think we're saying ECU will be the toughest game, but Texas Tech won't be easy either. They beat in their bowl game. They beat Mississippi State in their bowl game this past December.
That's a good point, Michael. I didn't even think about that, but we'll see. After Clemson, it's Florida State at home, October 8th, my birthday. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, by the way, October 8th, this year, October 8th, 6 years ago, was the Notre Dame game in Raleigh. with Hurricane
Hurricane
Matthew.
game.
Hurricane.
October 8th,
Yeah.
2016. For those I was on my birthday and I went to the game and I wore my
that's
dad's
cool.
hunting waders and I had to empty them out at halftime because I got so much water in the hunting waders. So, but yeah,
That was also the 50th anniversary of Carter Finley.
And
crazy game.
Brian Kelly threw the ball hold on, I think it was 27 times, 26 times in a hurricane. He threw the ball.
Wait, Brian Kelly or the quarterback?
The coach.
Like
the coach.
the coach.
That was his strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally threw the ball. He was so mad. No, at Clemson, his first AC game, Florida State. We go to Syracuse for the game following Florida State. So October 15th at Syracuse. And what it looks like is the bye week comes, I believe, between the Syracuse game and the next game, which is a home matchup against our cross-division opponent, Virginia Tech.
That'll be a Thursday night. Yeah.
Thursday night game, October 27th, the Thursday night game. I got a bunch of friends who are Hokies. They'll probably be at that game. And I look forward to it. New coach, Brent Pry.
Yep.
So that'll be really interesting to see for them. Again, and again, I want to go back to the Clemson thing real quick. Again, might be mindful. Clemson's got a new OC, a new DC, a new AD.
Yeah.
And we get them early in the season. Just kind of keep that in mind for Clemson. And not saying we win, but
that definitely helped us last year.
Right.
Yeah. They could have a new quarterback too. I mean, there's no guarantee DJ is going to start for them.
Yeah.
So,
right. So that's really interesting. But yeah, so we get Virginia Tech on a Thursday night, October 27th. Week and a half later, back on Saturday night. Saturday, we've got Wake Forest at home. Should be a revenge game. I think that's going to be a very tough matchup again because they bring almost everybody back.
Yeah, they bring a lot back.
I mean, we'd say that State should be the favorite, and they should be the favorite, I think. But if you're Wake Forest, I think you're feeling a little bit disrespected where you just got there and you're not the favorite and you're bringing everybody back and State's getting all the attention. I bet you Wake Forest is kind of looking forward to that matchup or already to a little bit. Game after that, Boston College at home. So you got 3 home games early in the season in your non-conference, and then you've got 3 kind of late in the season, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College, boom, boom, boom. And then at Louisville
which could be cold and nasty.
Yeah, up in Kentucky there. We'll see how that goes. I know Cunningham, he's coming back for Louisville, so that's huge for them. I'm not really sure about Satterfield. We've had this conversation over and over again.
He could be fired by that time. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe they turn it around. You never know. And then at ECU, which, again, it's on a Friday night game. And
UNC.
What did I say, ECU?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. UNC.
I'm happy to play them twice and beat them twice.
Yeah. At UNC on a Friday night game, which I know Dave Doran hates Friday night games because he hates them for the sake of high school football. That should be devoted to high school football, and you can't have recruits come out for games.
But that Friday night is the Thanksgiving, and I don't think high school plays that weekend, do they?
Yeah, it's probably playoff time, right? I don't know how North Carolina works out for their scheduling, but typically in Virginia, that's playoff
I didn't even think about that. That's true. So, you've got 5 road games, ECU, Clemson, Syracuse, Louisville, UNC. 2 road games you have 2 road games to end the season, Louisville and UNC. But then you've got your chunks of 3 non-conference games at home, Charleston Southern, Texas Tech, UConn. And you've got 3 home games towards the end of the season, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College. What are your guys' takeaways? What you mentioned in the comment, we have Charleston Southern ahead of Texas Tech to get maybe prepared for Texas Tech, get some things adjusted. You have UConn before Clemson. We have Clemson early in the season again. What else are your kind of takeaways from the schedule?
It's been a while since we ended the season with 2 road games. Typically, we're home and away in some form or fashion there. So that's gonna be a little interesting. I mean, still a long time before those games, and a lot can happen. With personnel. People stepping up, people transferring, people getting injured. So obviously no predictions right now, but I think it's very navigatable. I think that's a word. I think we can get through that. I do like Clemson early again. I think that was a big thing because they definitely got better after us last year.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and like you said, they'll be breaking in new personnel, a lot of coaches and stuff like that. We make it home, so that's good. We got Florida State at home.
I kind of like that with Jordan Travis coming back a little bit too. I don't necessarily like it right behind Clemson because Jordan Travis is he's an athletic quarterback you got to prepare for. So
and last year we played him after the box, so he definitely helped us. But he didn't play that year, so that was the kid that transferred in from UCF, McKenzie, right? I think Milton. Yeah. So I like it. I think what you got, Michael? I'm just kind of killing time. Oh,
Michael, you're muted. I don't know if you're muted.
You're muted. I think you got problems with your mic again.
But just kind of I am curious about that having to deal with Jordan Travis. I know they had Mackenzie Milton last time, which I think made it easier for State going into that game and playing through that game. But I'd say another thing I am kind of thinking about now is I'm a little glad we get Virginia Tech where we did, although you wouldn't get them early in the season. But I think you would have some film of what Brent Pry is wanting to do. And I like that. It's a Thursday night game. And I'll say this. I think Virginia Tech and State should play way more than they do.
Yeah. Well, I think
that would be a great natural rivalry, I think.
I do know that the getting rid of the divisions is on the table with the new ACC commissioner.
Jim Phillips.
Phillips they're definitely trying to advocate for breaking that up, so then you can get those rivalries in the other division. I think it's ridiculous, and Dave said this multiple times, that there's kids on State that will never play Duke in their 4-year careers. You only play them once every 7 years. I think
Wake Forest will never play UNC hardly.
Exactly.
Wake Forest never play UNC. So
well that too, and then the other thing is like when you have those natural rivalries and like teams that are typically not very good, like it changes every now and then, but you typically have your doormats, and that year's your natural sort every year, so it's almost a guaranteed win. It doesn't make it fair, right? That we have to play Clemson every year, then the others don't. So I think any given year it gives any other team the ability to make it to the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
Right. Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah, we're good, Mike.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at Clemson's schedule before us, and they start the season September 5th. They actually play at Georgia Tech. Then they've got Furman, Louisiana Tech, and at Wake Forest before home against.
So they got a Wake Forest game before us.
So they've got 2 ACC road games before playing us at home. So they'll have a little more under the belt than we will to start the season.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I think about too is I think that ECU game may help us be mentally prepared for the Clemson. I guess totally different dynamic, but ECU hates State, and
it'll be loud.
They'll want our heads. So, but I think that might be a good prep a little bit going into Clemson game, although it is like a month away, so it probably will fade away. You'll probably lose sight of that. I tell you, I think something about this. I know we got to kind of wrap up here, but I think a underrated, challenging portion, like 3-game stretch, is going to be the Wake Forest, Boston College at Louisville game, because Boston College gets Jerkovic back, and their young coach that was we thought going into that game after Clemson last year. It was like, okay, whoever wins this Boston College State game, and it wasn't a set in stone, State was going to win, is going to be in the driver's seat. And luckily we handled it, but Jerkovic, he didn't play that game, did he?
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, that, and then you have to, and if say you stumble there, you have to go up to Louisville and play Cunningham on the road in the cold. I mean, it gets cold in North Carolina, but I think that's going to be an underrated stretch that kind of defines how your season's going to go, like how well it's going to finish.
Yeah,
cliche, but
real quick before we wrap up, what do you think about Boo on the CFP panel now running that show?
I think
Yeah,
if that were to
we talked
happen
about
and
that.
State gets ranked really well, I think all of the Carolina fans are going to be like, "You got to be kidding me!" Like,
Conspiracy.
yeah, it's conspiracy. State. I'm just going to
Even
say
though
this.
he
Let's
obviously,
say State, but hypethetically, and I'm obviously you
Yeah.
can say
We're
I'm
way
smoking
ahead of
something-
ourselves at this point.
smoking something at this point. Let's say State goes 12-0, wins a conference title, and they're like up there. I don't think this is going to happen at all because
we
so
can
many
we can
stars
we
on the
can
line.
live. We can dream.
But yeah, this is a fans chat. We're just guys talking about State stuff. If State ever made it to the continental playoffs, there would be this conspiracy for sure.
for sure. Even though he obviously has to recuse himself from all discussions, but
He would.
everybody.
He can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna.
I'll slip you a 20. I'll slip you a 20.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-year term. So I mean, we don't have to do it this year. So we've got a couple years.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But
I just wanted to throw that out there.
That also means he'll become the most hated person in the month of November and December in college football if the rankings are terrible.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? It gets our name out there as a program too. Like people will start to know who NC State is. Because I've always wondered, like, talking to people and all over. Do you know who NC State is? Because I don't think we're, that. I think we talk about like we're not a national brand, but I think it does get our name out there and get some hopefully good publicity.
Yeah. I mean, for better or worse, I know the name of the Iowa athletic director now.
Right. Yeah. And I think Boo's got bigger aspirations anyways. I think it's just a logical step in that process.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I'm glad you brought that up because that was an interesting discussion to go through. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's been an up and down week for State fans. You mentioned the undefeated wrestling match against Duke for us, and obviously the men's basketball struggled. Women's basketball did great, but we've got a lot of big matchups coming up
in their meet.
Yeah,
right. The microcosm of who we are as a fan base, right? Like we have so many ups and downs, so we definitely like to cherry pick the good moments.
Yeah. So again, for those who don't remember, give you a reminder: tomorrow night, 7:00, ACC Network, women's basketball against number 20, I think, Notre Dame.
Yep.
So that'll be a great game. NC State women's basketball versus Notre Dame women's basketball. That should be a really good matchup. I hopefully I can watch it. I know I'll be kind of doing some traveling a little bit, but I hope I can watch it. And then Wednesday night, right after that, 9:00, men's basketball at home against Syracuse. So those are the two, big matchups. And real quick,
wrestling on Friday night too.
Wrestling Friday night.
Yeah, first home meet for the ACC because Virginia Tech. Oh, and that got rescheduled, but not as an ACC match.
Oh yeah. So here, I want to get real quick before we head off. I want to get not NC State related. Who's gonna win the Super Bowl now? Who's your pick?
I mean,
who was it, Greg?
I hate the Rams. That's like there's one city I hate in sports, and there's one team I hate in sports. So it's the Rams I absolutely hate because I'm a Bucs fan. I hate the city of Philadelphia and all their teams because they've always screwed over Tampa Bay teams. So I'm going Cincinnati, and then you just add the two Pac Pros on there with Pat and BJ. Let's go.
Man, those guys have made some clutch plays in the
playoffs all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked one of the comedians. I said he was doing some pre-game comedic routine live on Fox or something like that. He's like, "We know who they are, like we know who they are."
Yeah.
But Michael, who's your pick for Super Bowl? Rams or Bengals?
Well, see, I'm conflicted because I probably would go Bengals. I like Joe Burrow and obviously Jermaine Pratt and BJ Hill. But I also have a featured bet on the Rams to win the Super Bowl. So if they win, I win a decent chunk of cash. So I feel like I have to go Rams. But I don't really have any. I just want to see a good game. I also I would like to see Stafford win one just because he's been stuck in Detroit for so long, and I think he deserves it.
Yep. See, Justin saying he thinks Rams are going to win, but Cincinnati's going to win all. He thinks he wants Rams, but he does believe Cincinnati's going to win.
Yeah.
Beck Wolf says Bengals. Here's my thought. Who I think's going to win. I think the Rams are going to win.
I agree.
They're all in right now. They have the deeper defense than the Bengals, and the Bengals have played so great to this point. I just think it's going to get them this one game. But
let's not forget the game is in LA. I know that doesn't really matter a
yeah,
lot.
it's a USC Trojan
yeah.
State. It's a home game, kind of like Tampa Bay was last year. I'm thinking I would love to see Stafford win one. He was co-committed to Detroit.
Yeah.
Stayed there for so long, didn't win a lot, and in 1 year his whole fortunes have turned around. He's 31, 32.
Yeah.
I would just love to see him win one. I think he's a good guy. Usually, like being committed like that, it's a pretty admirable thing. So I'd love to see him win one. I like Aaron Donald a lot. Sean McVay, young coach, I kind of like him. I don't really know much about him, but on the flip side, I think it'd be so cool for Cincinnati to win as another young coach, but young QB, young receivers. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are both of those guys could be wide receiver ones on certain teams.
Yeah, Burrow and Chase have not lost a playoff game going back to college and NFL.
It shows you how good the LSU team was because they had Clyde Edwards-Helaire on that team too.
Yeah,
that was nuts. But if you think about that, then you got a young defense. We mentioned Brad Hill, Jesse Bates from Wake Forest is the starting safety. Well, I can't remember who the other guys are on the team, but a pretty young.
Yeah. They'll win
all kind of defense. You don't really know who the guys are. I mean, the best, who's the best player? I thought it was at one point was Jesse Bates was their best defensive player, but maybe I'm wrong. I just think it'd be so cool for a young team like that to win. That nobody was thinking. I actually did. My thought was Bengals. I'm getting too long into this. I thought it was gonna be Bengals, Bills, Packers, Rams. Who I actually did think was going to be in the game, and I was close. But I'm thinking. Think the Rams win. I'm indifferent to who wins. Like I don't really care. I would like to see Hill and Pratt get Super Bowl rings.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my storyline. So I am surprised at the early line. It's only 4. I thought maybe the Rams would be a little bit more of a favorite, but I don't know. Maybe that changes as the week goes on.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, the last point I'll make is Burrow can be the first quarterback ever to win a championship, a Super Bowl, and a Heisman. It's never been done before. So
that dude is too cool for school, man. That dude, I don't get that. I don't like the glasses thing. No. It's whatever.
Kooky.
I mean, it's kooky. Kooky is a good word for it. But it's speaking of kooky, I want to eat my cookie.
No. Bengals would be the biggest underdogs ever to win the Super Bowl. Like preseason, they were like 150 to 1 or something to win it at the preseason.
Some Cincinnati fan somewhere has put a $100 bet on that.
Yeah, $100.
Yeah, and they're about to get real happy.
Or should have. But thanks guys for tuning in. We really had a good time talking basketball and football and a little bit of wrestling notes here and there, and we're just really had a really good time with you guys. So again, tomorrow night. 7:00 women's basketball, Wednesday 9:00 men's basketball. Schedule's out. So go look at that for football. Enjoy it. We'll see you guys. I guess I think we might maybe be having a live stream tomorrow night. Maybe not. Tune in on Twitter account to see if that happens. But yeah, hope you guys are having a great week. We'll see y'all later and go Pack.
Go Pack.